The rain came down in sheets that Tuesday evening, turning the old stone bridge into a mirror of gray skies and distant street lamps. Michael Hayes held his 3-year-old daughter Emma closer, her small red jacket clutched in his free hand as he hurried toward home. He was tired. The kind of tired that settles into your bones after working 2 jobs and raising a child alone. But Emma's laughter, even in the rain, made everything worthwhile. That's when he saw her. A young woman stood at the bridge railing, her white dress soaked through, her wet hair plastered against her face. She was crying, one hand gripping the metal, the other reaching toward the dark water below. Michael's heart stopped. "Hey," he called out gently, shifting Emma to his hip. "Hey, please." "Don't!" The woman turned. She couldn't have been more than 25. Her eyes were red, makeup running down her cheeks. And in them, Michael saw something he recognized from his own mirror on the hardest nights. Complete exhaustion with life itself. "Stay back," she whispered, her voice breaking. Just let me go." Michael took a slow breath. Emma had gone quiet against his chest, sensing something was wrong. "I'm Michael," he said softly, staying where he was. "This is my daughter, Emma. We're just trying to get home, but I can't walk past someone who's hurting. I just can't." The woman's face crumpled. "You don't understand. I've lost everything. My job, my apartment, my family won't speak to me. I have nothing left." Michael nodded slowly. He did understand. 3 years ago, when his wife left them, when he couldn't make rent, when he stood in a food bank line with infant Emma crying in his arms, he'd understood that darkness all too well. "I'm going to set Emma down just for a moment," he said quietly. "Then I'm going to reach out my hand. Not to grab you, just to offer it. That okay?" He carefully placed Emma on the wet pavement behind him, making sure she was safe, then slowly extended his hand across the gap between them. "My name's Sarah," the woman said after a long moment. "Sarah Mitchell." "Sarah," Michael repeated gently. "That's a beautiful name. My grandmother was Sarah." She looked at his outstretched hand, then at little Emma, who was watching with wide, serious eyes. "I'm so tired," Sarah whispered. "I know," Michael said. "I know you are, but tired isn't forever. Tired can rest. Tired can heal." Something in his voice, maybe the authenticity of someone who'd truly been there, made Sarah look at him differently. "You really understand, don't you?" she asked. "More than you'd think," he replied. 3 years ago, I had $57 to my name, a baby who needed formula, and a future that looked like nothing but closed doors." Sarah's hand trembled on the railing. "What changed?" she asked. "People's kindness," Michael said simply. "A neighbor who brought groceries. A boss who gave me a chance despite my situation. A daycare worker who sometimes stayed late for free because she knew I was trying. Little mercies that became my ladder out of the pit." He kept his hand extended, steady in the rain. "Let me be one of those little mercies for you tonight, Sarah. Just take my hand. Come away from the edge. We'll figure out the rest." Minutes passed. The rain continued its steady drumming. Emma remained quiet, somehow understanding this was important. Finally, slowly, Sarah reached out. Her fingers touched his, then gripped tight. Michael held on carefully as she climbed back over the railing. And when her feet touched solid ground, she collapsed against him, sobbing. He held her steady with one arm while reaching back for Emma with the other. "It's okay," he murmured. "You're safe now. You're safe." When Sarah's crying finally subsided, Michael walked her to a small diner at the end of the bridge. Inside, he bought her tea and soup with money he'd planned for tomorrow's breakfast. They sat in a worn booth, while Emma colored on napkins with crayons the waitress provided. Sarah's story spilled out between sips of hot tea. She'd been a nursing student until her mother's illness drained their savings. She'd dropped out to care for her, then lost her mother anyway. Her father blamed her, said she hadn't done enough. She'd spiraled into depression, lost her job, lost her apartment. "I felt invisible," she said, "like I could disappear and no one would notice." Michael reached across the table, placing his weathered hand over hers. "I notice you." he said quietly. "And I'm glad you're still here." Over the next hour, Michael made phone calls. He knew people, folks from his church, his community, people who'd helped him when he needed it. By the time their tea was cold, Sarah had a place to stay for the night at a women's shelter. Contact information for a crisis counselor, and 3 job leads from people who valued second chances. "Why are you doing this?" Sarah asked as they prepared to leave. "You don't even know me." Michael smiled, looking down at Emma, who'd fallen asleep against his shoulder. "Because someone did it for me once," he said. "And because every life matters, Sarah, especially yours." He wrote his phone number on a napkin. "You call me if you need anything, even just to talk. Promise." Sarah nodded, tears flowing again, but different tears this time. "I promise," she whispered. "Thank you, Michael. You saved my life tonight." "No," he said gently, gathering Emma in his arms. "You saved your life by choosing to take my hand. I just happened to be there at the right moment." They parted ways under the diner's awning, rain still falling steady. As Michael walked home with Emma, he thought about the thin threads that connect us all, how a moment of compassion can change everything, how we're all just trying to find our way through the darkness. 6 months later, Michael received a letter. Inside was a photo of Sarah in nursing scrubs, standing outside a hospital, smiling. She'd finished her degree through a hardship program. She'd reconciled with her father. She was working, living, thriving. On the back, she'd written simply, "Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for caring. You taught me that kindness is the bridge between despair and hope." Michael pinned the photo to his refrigerator next to Emma's drawings. Some nights, when he felt overwhelmed by his own struggles, he'd look at it and remember, we're all capable of being someone's miracle. Sometimes all it takes is an outstretched hand and a willing heart. And in the quiet of his small apartment, with his daughter sleeping peacefully in the next room, Michael understood that saving Sarah had somehow saved him too, reminding him that even in our darkest moments, we're never truly alone, and that the smallest act of kindness can ripple outward in ways we can't imagine. Love is patient, kindness is powerful. And sometimes on a rainy bridge, a struggling father and a desperate young woman can remind each other